Hello YouTube friends, Alicia here with another junk journal. I posted on one of my groups the other day to give me some junk journal ideas, and I got really fun ideas, and for the most part I think I'm going to try almost all of them that I was given. However, this wasn't one of the ideas that was posted. This was inspired by the fact that I had an antiques magazine sitting around and I want to use this image that was on the cover. Now these magazines, I don't know. They're antique magazines, but they're actual vintage antique magazines. So, yeah, I don't remember the year of this one. And I don't actually even know what the picture is. Like, I mean, there's boats, obviously. And so I don't know if there's some kind of flooding or what. But what I have done is I've done this journal in the theme of a lady who is keeping track of things in a journal while her husband's off at sea. And so this is an earring that I have just added a Tim Holtz picture in of a sailor. Or I don't know if he's actually a sailor, but that was my thought. And it moves around a little bit. And then some gold trim at the bottom. A vintage button for the binding, for the closure. It's pamphlet stitched. Oh, oops. I think the lace the wrong way. And then you go inside. And all I've done is I've tied it and then added a safety pin so it doesn't pull through. I don't know who did that. I did see somebody add a safety pin so it doesn't pull through, and I can't remember who. Vintage, like book plates or whatever they're called. It is only one signature. I was going to do 2 signatures, but I didn't allow room in the spine because I did the cover before I did the book to allow for 2 signatures. So I just made it really one thick signature, and then it's all deckled edge. So, I mean, it does overhang, and normally I don't like that, but because of the way the edges are cut, I like the texture, so I left it, and I didn't, add lace or anything. So it's almost 100 pages, and there is no digital printables. That was one thing. I wanted to use things in my stash, not things that I had to print off, so I did that. Except for the couple Tim Holtz pieces, all the ephemera is vintage. And of course, like, not the paper pads, but this is a vintage letter and 1929. So and these are letters. What they are actually is correspondence between 2 friends. But anyways, so I did them like they were letters to her from him. That's my thought process there. And this is like a picture of the kids. The paper is either K & Company or DCWV. Music paper. This is just punched with a decorative corner punch. I really like how this journal turned out. These aren't actually, they're replicas of vintage images, but they're not, I guess, actual vintage pieces. Music tape. The other Tim Holtz piece. These are the film strips. A little paper piece. This flips up for journaling. I like the idea of belly bands, but I find that everything slips through. So I just do them like halfway, and then I have them flip up. So that I still have the same idea as a belly band. And I will punch holes in my tags. I just couldn't find my hole punch. This is paper that I've been hoarding. Not the map paper, but this paper. This is from that magazine, and it is backed on cardstock. And it is sewn. And this flips up. This is from a vintage Eaton's catalog. And for those of you that don't know, Eaton's is a Canadian company. This is backed on brown paper. Some of it's on brown paper, some of it's on butcher paper, and some of it's on just cardstock. So it was ironed on and then sewn. There's no stamping, so the pages themselves are very plain for journaling, as most of my journals, but there is lots of ephemera. This is sewn onto paper again. And honestly, the reason that there's no stamping is because I have a really hard time getting the image right the first time, and I didn't want to wreck my pages. So in order to stamp, I stamp and then like glue on, and I actually thought about it and forgot. So I might do that if this journal doesn't sell and I keep it. Oh, I forgot to back that piece. That piece will get backed yet. But anyways, yeah, it's backed on paper. There's nothing in there. I don't believe these are vintage airmail envelopes. I do have vintage ones, but these ones are just from my thrift store. And of course, it just repeats itself because this is the second half of the signature. I like that paper. And these aren't backed with anything, like they're just double-sided. So it's a large piece. I didn't cut it apart because it stayed together nicely, and I thought it was just a nice piece to add. And with the music, I kind of thought maybe those were some of her favorite songs that she thought of or sang while he was gone at sea. And there is music paper in here. I've never really done a journal where everything was kind of towards a theme. But, I mean, I've done themed journals, but like as in I had a person in mind when I was doing it. So, that's another photo. And then this is another letter. The envelope is in rough shape, but I didn't tape it or anything because I like the look of the real vintage piece. Oh, this is a flip and a tuck. I think this is probably one of the only pieces that doesn't have a thing in it. I will put something in it before I ship it if I sell it. This piece is from a book, and I just backed it on paper. And the piece, like this piece, like with the different fabrics, I was thinking maybe these were fabrics that she wanted to use to sew or something like that. Flips up. Oops, this page is neat. This is like a plastic actually. It's embossed, almost like a plastic. More tags. Everything is coffee dyed. Okay, these aren't, they're double-sided, but everything that's single-sided is coffee dyed. Oops. And then all the edges are done with my paper trimmer. It does that. Some of them are like more ragged than others. I like that look, and some of them are just straight scalloped edges. This is maybe hats that she had in mind to get him, or a hat. And then that's just a view of the lake. And sunset. I'm moving this journal around, sorry. It's not that large, it's standard size, but because it's so thick it wants to doesn't want to stay. And that is the back. And then I just left this plain. Apparently I have glue on the back of that picture. Not sure what happened there. Oops. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that is the back. And it's pamphlet stitched. So if you are interested, it is $45 US plus shipping. PayPal only, and PayPal within the first 24 hours. Any questions, leave them below. Thank you for watching.